time I look, I see another fucking scam. The fuckers wanna fuck you, so you gotta fuck them first. They try to fuck you bad, so you gotta fuck them worse. So fucking let me fucking be. If you're gonna be a fuck, stay the fuck away from me. Fucking fuck, 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 fucking fucking fuck, fucking fuck, fucking fucking fuck, fucking fuck, fucking fuck, fucking fuck, fucking fuck, fucking fuck, fucking fucking fuck, fucking fuck, fucking fuck, fucking fucking fuck, fucking fuck. Fuck man, I'm fucking pissed man. I'm fucking tired of fucking being fucking dissed man. I fucking don't know fucking how I fucking held it in, but now I fucking yell and fucking pound my fucking fist man. I'm in a twist man. You fucking need to fucking see the fucking powers that be. Or fucking you and me, do you exist man? Don't let the fucking succeed in fucking making you feed until the motherfucking greed. The fuckers wanna fuck you, so you gotta fucking hurry. You gotta fucking bad, so you gotta fucking.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, cats and kittens, dogs and fucking puppies, wrestling fans all over the world, stuck at home. Welcome to another edition of the Wrestling Enthusiast Real Talk. I am Eric Peralta, otherwise known as the Wrestling Enthusiast. Today we take a look at some wrestling news, see what the hell is going to be happening. We're going to take a look at this week's editions of AEW Dynamite. We'll be talking about NXT as well, WWE NXT from this past Wednesday. Also, is Vince McMahon an actual jerk-off? We'll be finding out shortly because according to what I've heard, when he shut down the XFL, some guy named Oliver Luck is planning to file a lawsuit against this fucking crook. I mean, is Vince McMahon really actually a crook and a jerk-off? You know what my opinion is? I think so. So, with that in mind, let's take a look at what's been going on in the wrestling news. I will not be talking about COVID-19. I'll save that for a later time because everybody knows what the fuck is going on. This couple of states are trying to attempt to reopen the states. Georgia's one of them. Florida's one of them as they're opening beaches. I have a feeling that, and that was something I was afraid of, that we might have some type of uprising here. People are losing their fucking patience. They want to go outside. They want to go drink some beers, have some fun, go bowling, play some football, or watch some baseball games, having a cold beer, barbecue grilling, swimming pool parties, wrestling events, indie shows, and arena shows. Either that or jack a zoo monkey off. I have no idea. I don't know what they're planning on doing. But people are sick and tired of, they're obviously sick and tired of staying home. So, I'm staying home. I've been quarantining myself all my life, so I'm used to this shit. It's not really nothing out of the norm. And it's something that I've always been doing. I've been used to it, especially when you grow up in a family with that, where you grow up and you have little or no money. What else can you do? You can watch TV, you can play PlayStation or whatever, or Xbox, whatever console you got. Turn on the internet and watch the fucking TV. Either that or you're going to play with your prick. But anyway, so before we take a look at the news, let's take a look at the viewership numbers for this past week's episodes of AEW Dynamite and WWE NXT. This week's episode of WWE NXT did 665,000 viewers on the USA Network, which is down from the previous week's edition that did 692. They drew a 0.18 rating in the key demographic of 18 to 49 demographic, which is up about from the previous 0.17. That's NXT. AEW Dynamite, however, on TNT pulled 731,000 viewers, which is up from the show last week that did 683,000, which they were beaten by WWE NXT. They drew a 0.25 rating in the 18 to 49 demographic, which is the same from the previous 0.25 a week ago. So they break the streak. NXT streak didn't last long, did it? Okay, so let's take a look at some of the news, and I'll go back to the AEW stuff and the NXT stuff in a little bit. We'll talk about the shows and talk about the episodes and the matches. We'll be talking about that in a little bit. We got an injury report here that's featuring updates on Keith Lee and Tony Nese. And it seems like Keith Lee suffered a bruised larynx from the attack by Damian Priest, which caused him to forfeit the match. And then Camp said that Lee is being monitored and will return to action very soon. Personally, in my opinion, I think that's more likely of a kayfabe type of injury line. It's probably a storyline type of injury. So it's pretty much nothing that's going to be, we're not going to be mentioned too much about. So personally, I mean, who gives a shit, right? All right. Tony Nese is also injured. He tweaked his forearm during a match with Kushida. Tony will take part in the Cruiserweight Championship round robin tournament. And he'll be scheduled to be in a match next week and is expected to be 100%. And of course, those tweaked injuries, you don't want to have them, especially if you're getting some momentum going on in NXT. Same thing goes for a lot of the athletes over there in AEW Dynamite as well. So, yeah, injuries suck, no doubt about it. I mean, I felt bad for Io Shirai when she got that injury back in February, and she couldn't compete until late March. AEW President Tony Khan praises the Jacksonville Jaguar fans, as he couldn't know he is the son of the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. AEW President Tony Khan also has duties with the NFL's Jacksonville Jaguars, as he commented on Thursday night's episode of NFL Draft. Actually, that's the Thursday night edition of the NFL Draft. I mean, I really don't give a fuck. I watched the NFL Draft a couple of times, and trust me, it is boring as shit. It's like watching two snails fuck. But anyway, Khan, who is a co-owner and the executive vice president of football administration and technology for the Jaguars, posted to Twitter saying that he and his father are working the NFL Draft from home. Obviously, the COVID-19 pandemic has made a lot of adjustments here for not only the upcoming NFL season. That's if we still have a season. So they made their picks, and one of their picks happened to be a cornerback, C.J. Henderson, who only allowed one career touchdown in single coverage at Florida. Seems like he has an impressive resume, but as most of the time, judging by how these fucking things work, I say it never really works out. I mean, I always ask myself, what the fuck is the point in having an NFL draft if half of these schmucks don't even make a career? And if they do, they probably won't have to wait till like 8, 9, or 10 years later. I mean, ask Alex Smith. Another news report here, an interesting one. WWE is reportedly using a chemical to fight the COVID-19 at the Performance Center. During the Thursday's G1 WWE earnings call, Triple H revealed that WWE is using a chemical to fight COVID-19 at the Performance Center in Orlando, Florida. WWE is reportedly working with Allied Bioscience and are using a spray. The spray coats all surfaces and lasts for 90 to 120 days. Surface Wise is the name of the chemical that they are using. It is an EPA registered surface coating, and it provides an invisible barrier to inhibit the growth of bacteria, fungi, mold, mildew, whatever, etc., and algae, which cause odor, staining, and discoloration. This revolutionary coating has been demonstrated to provide continuous protection when used as directed on a variety of treated surfaces, including plastic, stainless steel, mattresses, rubber, drywall, painted surfaces, and textiles. Now, how long does it work? According to this thing, it says the odorless invisible coatings, while non-toxic to humans and non-aquatic pets, bond to the surface and creates a hostile environment that disrupts the cell membranes and prevents these organisms from attaching and thriving on treated surfaces. So apparently they seem to have some sort of coating system by a laboratory, and apparently this shit has not gotten word of to these fucking politicians who apparently have shut the whole fucking country down. Shame be that. And of course, it's really, really very stupid. I mean, it's like, what the fuck? If they could come up with shit like this, then we could be fine in public, motherfuckers. Cocksucking fuck. I hate them. I hate these fucking political bastards. See, this is false leadership. It's false leadership, I say. Because if they're actually going to benefit every single human being that's out there in public, not just at home, they would give this shit out and protect us by doing simple shit like this. But of course, they only cater to the rich. Yeah, fucking assholes. Okay, moving on. Former WWE superstar Carl Anderson, who was let go by from last week's many releases, he is counting down the days until his WWE no-compete clause expires. Luke Gallows also chimed in, where you can see below in this Twitter that I have here. It's locked and loaded. That's what he says on Carl Anderson's Twitter page. And I look down, scroll down, and it says 85 days and 15 hours and 18 minutes. Well, he's pretty precise. This post was done at 5:41 a.m. on April 23rd, 2020. So, interesting. So, obviously, they've been itching to get the fuck out of WWE. Apparently so. Let's see. During today's 2020 Quarter 1 the WWE Financials Report, WWE revealed some of the following stats for WrestleMania 36 and the WWE Network. According to this report, WWE set WrestleMania week viewership records with more than 967 million video views across digital and social platforms, representing a 20% increase from the prior year. A record 46 million hours of content was consumed during the week, an increase of 28% from the prior year. WrestleMania, which was April 4th and 5th of this year, was the most social event in WWE history, with more than 13.8 million total social media interactions on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, up 57% versus last year's WrestleMania. Also, WWE Network's WrestleMania Weekend subscriber additions from Friday to Sunday were the highest in its history. Total subscribers reached 2.10 million on April 6, 2020, which is up 5% from the day after WrestleMania last year. Also, WWE Network average paid subscribers were 1.46 million people, which is down 8%, consistent with the company's guidance. Now, I look at that. I have a question about this, and I want to know if these numbers are facts. I look at this, and then they say, I go back to this article, and then I look at it, and I say to myself, WWE set WrestleMania week viewership records with more than 967 million video views across digital and social platforms. What the fuck are they talking about? You know, and I seem to notice this. That I'm starting to catch on about this type of shit. I seem to notice that WWE, and I notice this when I'm watching WWE program, and this even goes way back to a couple of years. I say this goes back to as far back as probably 2011, 2012, maybe. And they always have these Did You Know segments during episodes of Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. And I'm pretty sure they pop them up every now and then. They don't pop them up as much as I used to, but they seem to do it a lot during the PG era back in 2009 and 2010, which was fucking so stupid. But anyway, it was just another reason to water down the product and more, and have John Cena have an excuse to not make anyone over. So anyway, it just gets me fucking mad thinking about it. But so anyway, I noticed like back in 2011 or 2012, somewhere around there, they kept over-exaggerating about the WWE app. And then they kept saying, the WWE app, with over 500 million downloads, it is the most popular thing since Major League Baseball, National Basketball Association, NASCAR, and NFL combined. And I'm like, you can't be as popular as that, especially if you got a watered-down product. This right here, especially on a business conference call, has over-exaggerated the fucking numbers again. They keep doing this shit. Look, it doesn't fucking work. These goddamn exaggerated numbers, 967 million views on all social media platforms. And get the fuck out of here with that shit. Really? 967 million downloads? Get fucking real. Man, this is just the dumbest exaggeration bullshit I've seen. But they've been doing this shit for the past 8 or 9 years. They still haven't quit. I'm like, look, can't you see? If you tell bullshit long enough, it becomes the truth. But then again, but in this case, it doesn't. It's just over-exaggerated bullshit, which I'm pretty sure Vince McMahon is going to be fucking pushing. Because some people are gullible enough to buy shit. Look at what, I mean, people are gullible enough to believe anything they're fucking told. Look at our fucking president we have. Look at the fucking ass clown they elected. Do you honestly think that this is a true number? That this is the most popular thing? I'll go outside. I'll ask my neighbor, "Hi, sir, how you doing?" "Oh, I'm doing fine, sir. How's your day been going?" "I'm doing okay. I'm doing fine." Do you have the WWE app? Oh, what? Oh, there you go. Never mind. That just answered my question. So there you go. Stop exaggerating the fucking numbers, pricks. Okay. There's one thing I would like to say about yourself. Since we're doing this podcast, I would like to give a special shout out to Dusty Vision TV. Dusty Vision TV is a new channel that's on YouTube. I suggest you subscribe to them and check them out. They have over hundreds of videos worth of interviews, exclusive interviews from old school hip hop artists and from gangster rap lives. Also talk about some certain topics that are too hot for normal standards. I suggest you check them out as Dusty Vision TV. Check them out on YouTube. Some of their videos are getting already 1 million hits. Go check them out. Dusty Vision TV. Subscribe to their YouTube channel and check out some exclusive interviews and quick podcasting and some interesting stuff there. I suggest you check them out. Once again, that is Dusty Vision TV. Please subscribe to them as they're available on YouTube. All right, now let's talk about NXT. Or I'm sorry, let's talk about AEW Dynamite. Now, the last couple of weeks, they have been teasing about the AEW TNT Championship. They decided to do an 8-man tournament. And I have watched 2 matches so far. Lance Archer advanced to the semifinals, and Cody and Cody won his match, and he will be facing against the winner of Darby Allin and Sammy Guevara. And guess what? That quarterfinal match ended up starting AEW Dynamite. So we're off to a great start here. Tony Schiavone and Chris Jericho are doing commentary. And first of all, I'm going to say this. Chris Jericho is pretty fucking clever on commentary. I think he might be doing some of that shit. He's a great fucking heel. He knows how to talk on as a commentator, especially when he keeps promoting the Inner Circle. So here we go. Sammy Guevara and Darby Allin. I think these guys are phenomenal wrestlers. Sammy attacks with a dive, works over Darby Allin on the floor in shades of their pay-per-view match, which took place at AEW Revolution. So they all started brawling on the floor. Sammy breaks out a fucking ladder during the match, which is crazy. I'm like, well, it's like they're not really acknowledging the traditional wrestling rules in these matches. So, but I think still it kind of makes it more interesting in my opinion. So anyway, Sammy breaks out a ladder, and then he tries to make a bridge at ringside, and he lays Darby Allin on it. Sammy ends up heading for the top, and then falls to a splash onto Darby, and it was a sick fucking fall. And both of them, I bet you, I cringed when I saw that shit. Because Sammy's head almost just bounced off that fucking ladder with Darby Allin falling off of it. And it was a sick looking spot. It looked crazy. I cringed when I saw him land it. Wow, that was a crazy spot. I will give him that. Sammy was covering him because he brought him back to the ring, and I guess he was the least fucked up in that little sequence. He covered him for a 2 count. Ended up getting his shoulders up. So both guys are pretty banged up right here, right away. It was very physical, followed by some chops here and there by both guys. They're both banged up, but they're also both working hard. After several series of near falls, Darby heel hooked them at one point in the match. And then I think he worked an ankle lock of some sort, and then Darby started bleeding from the nose. Sammy kept fighting. They ended up slugging out again afterwards. And they were changing strikes here and there, left and right, and then move. Darby eats the barricade once again at one point in the match, and because he missed a suicide dive, and it looked fucking painful. It looked painful. I thought he landed head first into that barricade, but he was okay after that. But kayfabe, Sammy ended up rolling him back in, heads up to the top, then a 630 followed by a 2 count, which I couldn't believe it. And then after that, Darby make the ropes, and Sammy follows with knee strikes until Darby counters into the stunner, and then Darby Allin finished him off with a Last Supper. Fun match to watch, and this is a good way to start the show. So that was a 7.5 out of 10. This was potentially match of the night in this show. Darby Allin eliminates Sammy Guevara, and Darby Allin will face Cody Rhodes. That's going to be interesting because I remember the last time they fought each other was at Fyter Fest last year, AEW Fyter Fest. That was a good show. The start was a smart playoff on the pay-per-view match, especially the way they were wrestling at Revolution. They continued their little rivalry. These two got good chemistry. I mean, I like the way they worked. They worked well together, and they delivered a good match. It was great back and forth. So, it was a lot of fun. After the match, to the Hardy compound we go, and there's Matt Hardy with his broken gimmick with that. He was doing that shit. Talking shit about Jericho, talking shit about the Bubbly Bunch, and talking shit about Sammy the Spanish God, that he called him out, yada, yada, yada. Wasn't that bad of a promo. And It said Jericho doesn't know how to handle his broken brilliance. Matt turns into a mortal Matt Hardy, which is more of himself. And he sounds like a regular Matt Hardy, which is, usually himself. So I kind of find that funny. I kind of find that funny that they did that. And he did that. And I get a bit of deja vu with that sometimes because it's very interesting. It kind of reminds me of Matt Hardy version 1, but at the same time, broken Matt Hardy, that type of shit. So we go to commercial after that. After Jericho gets pissed off and starts ranting, we come back from commercial, and then Taz breaks down Kenny's Snapdragon and V trigger moves, and it was a nice little video. I mean, just in case if you are a new viewer, so it was pretty nice thing they did here. The next matchup was Kenny Omega against Alan Angels. I don't know if this is his first match here or his second. I have to double check on that, but I had never seen him before, but I know he was probably big in the indies, so I don't know. Here we go. Angels attacks with kicks, and then Kenny quickly grounds him, and Angels counters, and he backs up to his feet, and he follows with a tackle, picks up the pace, and then Kenny starts delivering chops, and then he fights off a Snapdragon, hits a senton, but then Kenny counters the second, and a near fall with a backbreaker. Kenny delivers chop strikes and works over Angel in the corner. Angels ended up fighting back with a lariat by Kenny, and Angel stuns him a little bit off the ropes, so he gives him a little bit of offense in. He hits the drop kick and covers for a near fall, 2 count. Ground and pound follows. He heads up to the top and misses the double stomp, but he hits an enziguri. Then all of a sudden the Snapdragon, and then the V trigger falls for a 2 count near fall. Then boom, hits a Doctor Bomb and V trigger, and then he finish off Alan Angels as Kenny Omega gets an enjoyable outing, and he looked really good here. So I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. I'll give him credit. It's not really a jobbers match, but it was a showcase. It was a showable matchup here, so I enjoyed it. It was good. After that, there was a little profile of Scorpio Sky, who, he broke down his tough road into professional wrestling, and I'm pretty sure it was something he wanted. His mom was always supportive, suffered a severe back injury, recovered, got a lot of chances, but was never signed. He kept trying, knowing he may fail. In 2017, SCU was formed, and that was his big chance to be continued. So it kind of profiles, kind of like a little biography that tells a story here. They recapped Being the Elite 200 episode, which was a lot of fun. By the way, Being the Elite videos, man, those are some interesting and fun videos to watch. And I will tell you, this is very funny. I suggest checking them out. Go to YouTube. Go to youtube.com or on the YouTube app. Type in Being the Elite. And check out all their episodes. I mean, there's a lot of fun episodes. Going all the way back from when they were in New Japan, all the way to when they're reaching here in AEW. So it's really fun to watch. I suggest you give it a watch. Especially with these interesting matchups that they come up with. A lot of fun. All right, next matchup. We have Orange Cassidy against Jimmy Havoc. Trent and Chuck are at ringside. Havoc ended up attacking right away, pummeling Cassidy. And you know how Cassidy is. He's very fucking nonchalant. Jimmy Havoc is the one that's probably producing most of the offense here in this match. I mean, but then again, I think that's his character, Orange Cassidy's characteristics and his gimmick. So, it just makes me laugh because this is how he fucking works. Cassidy gets eye poked, then he rolls him back in. He gets rolled in, starts targeting the hand and the arm, grounding Cassidy. Cassidy fires back because he fucking reacts when he has to. Havoc cuts him off with a running Death Valley driver. And then an uppercut gets for near fall. An armbar follows, but then Cassidy makes it to the ropes. Havoc goes back to the hand, follows with body shots, and puts Cassidy's hands in his pockets, and then delivers the strikes while he was at it. So that ended up firing up Cassidy because that ended up just pissing him off. So he hits a drop kick, follows with a suicide dive, and hits Cross back into the ring. The tornado DDT, and then connects for a near fall. Havoc fires back, and then they started working up at the top. And Cassidy just dumps him. Another splash, near fall. Havoc fires back, and then lights up Cassidy, and then Cassidy comes and counters into a Superman punch-like maneuver. That'll make any Vince McMahon ass kisser jealous. Sorry, I like Roman Reigns too, but I mean as a person, but I mean let's be honest. Well, I don't know why he got pushed to the moon. But anyway, Ford distracts him. Penelope Ford tried to distract him. And Chuck tries to help, and then Kip Sabian ends up arriving and hits a dive out of nowhere. Ford tries to attack, and then Orange Cassidy ended up cradling Havoc for a win. Orange Cassidy wins this match. Very impressive. It was an enjoyable, solid match. 6.5 out of 10. But the Cassidy stuff plays better with a crowd, I think. I mean, it just wasn't the same without a crowd. So while we're at it, Havoc just laid out Cassidy post-match, and then they all started brawling, and they ended up fighting in the back, and they ended up walking away. Then we get an update from MJF, who is on Twitter. His last two cryptic posts, he was just saying that I have some major problems. I would have been able to perform in front of you. However, due to my serious issues, I unfortunately will not be performing in front of you tonight. Now, I'm scratching my head looking at this because I'm thinking to myself, he's got to be bullshitting with the fans. Especially on his Twitter. He's not breaking kayfabe. He's actually being fucking... I mean, he's not breaking kayfabe. He's actually in character. So, he's just doing this shit. So anyway, we actually get a health update from MJF. He talks about dealing with something big, depressing, and that's the fact that he hasn't wrestled on TV. That was a little swerve. He hasn't been here because in his last appearance he suffered a serious injury while throwing his cash a hangnail. I'm going to say it again. MJF's most serious injury was a hangnail. But he gambled through to the end of the show, and it became life-threatening. But he will rise from the ashes, and he will win the AEW World Title. Let that sink in for a minute. All right, that's enough. That is a major heel move. It's a dick fucking move. But the reason why he's doing it, he's a fucking heel. He can fucking piss off as many people as he wants. He could torment them all he wants. Like I said, fucking gullible. I like what he's doing. He's basically breaking balls. That's what he's trying to do. Anyway, we have another match, and it's a jobber match. It's Wardlow against Lee Johnson. The way this match turned out is Wardlow just attacked Johnson. Johnson tried to fire back. Then he gets quickly power slammed. He tossed him around. Johnson couldn't do shit. He's easily cut off. Straps are down, and then an F10. That's it. Gotcha. It was a squash match, 2.5 minutes to make him look good. I can't give a rating because it was not longer than 3 minutes. So, especially on a TV program. If it was a pay-per-view, I say 5. But I have my time limitations. But it was less than 3 minutes. So, no rating. I'm not giving this a rating. Next segment we have is someone drinking as they keep getting bad news. Then they start searching online and find the Dark Order and ask for help. Brody Lee then arrives. He meets the mystery man. And it shows him like playing college football or being an athlete of some type, having a promising career. So yeah. He asks how all the man is. He's 6'2", weighs 240 pounds. Yeah, he played college football, and some people have success handed to them. Brody isn't afraid of success and offers the power of the Dark Order to this man. And he gives him a mask as well as a home. It's nice to see that the Exalted One is talking to some former XFL football players. Oh, too soon. Too soon. We were talking about XFL. No, that's on our main event segment. I'll talk about that in a bit. But nonetheless, the Exalted One himself, Brody Lee, participates in the match against Justin Law. It's another squash. Lee just took over right away, and he just kept pummeling poor Law. I think he killed him with a super kick, and then to get him a sleeper suplex, and chops him a whole black hole slam, rolling lariat. That's it. Nothing else. What else can I say? Brody Lee killed a guy, while also continuing the tease of a match with Marco Stunt, because Marco Stunt takes a good look at Brody Lee, and then he starts taking a look at Marco Stunt. You know that's not going to end well. Best Friends and Orange Cassidy himself, they're backstage, and the Best Friends challenge Havoc and Sabian to a tag match. And it's a no disqualification tag match. So next week's AEW Dynamite is going to be mighty interesting. We'll see how this goes. We get the Bumbly Bunch again, and I got to admit, it's actually pretty funny to watch this. In this episode of the Bubbly Bunch, we get a sad Sammy Guevara and Ortiz, but his stuffed animals pep talk him as Hager tells him he's too beautiful to be upset. Chris Jericho tells them to be happy and dance, and Jericho offers him hand sanitizer as a price due a film fam. I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, God. They mock the TikTok deal as they all dance. Sammy goes wild, showing off. Jericho is pissed and says, "Enjoy your hand sanitizer, Sammy." Just goofy shit. This is some goofy ass shit. It's fun to watch though. And I like how they were mimicking that TikTok. I'm kind of glad they didn't do that one song. I'm a savage. Classy, booty, ratchet. Sassy, cutie, nasty. All you fucking Instagram thoughts are fucking playing that shit. Change the fucking channel. Let's move on. Another video package here. This is a fucking show filled with a lot of video package. I mean, I can't really complain too much because of the current situation that we're all in right now. But nonetheless, we get a Jon Moxley video package, and he said that he'll be here next week on AEW Dynamite. And they also promote Marco Stunt versus Brody Lee, Cody versus Darby Allin in the semifinals, Lance Archer versus, well, we'll talk about that in a minute, of the winner of the Dustin Rhodes Kip Sabian match. And then Kip Sabian, speaking of, will team up with Jimmy Havoc and take on Best Friends in a no disqualification match. So another video package, we get to hype the main event, and there's a little bit at stake here with this quarterfinal matchup. Dustin Rhodes stated on Road to the Elite, saying if Dusty Rhodes does not beat Kip Sabian in the quarterfinals, he'll retire from professional wrestling competition. So this main event match had meaning. So he teased retirement if he loses. So Penelope Ford is out there with Kip Sabian, and Brandy Rhodes is out there with Dustin Rhodes. So they're all at ringside. And the match begins. Dustin takes control early in the going. He's using some groundwork. Kip works with the ropes, then locking up, picking up the pace. Dustin follows with the uppercut, and he follows through with an arm drag and grounding Kip again. Kip escapes, fires back, and controls with an enziguri and PK for a near fall of 2 count. And what I liked about this match, I mean, with him putting his career on the line, you think back and then you think to yourself, man, I sure hope he doesn't lose in the quarterfinals. That would fucking suck. And you know what? In my opinion, it would suck. I kind of like to see something down the road in this tournament. But I have a feeling they might have some sort of twist going on. I'll tell you that in a minute. So anyway, after watching this match, because this match was good, and there was a lot of checking up, and there was the refs checks on Dustin after Kip Sabian targeting his knee because he kept favoring his knee, which I thought to myself, oh shit, Kip Sabian found a weak point, and he's going to attack Dustin Rhodes' knee. So Kip follows with a drop kick for a 2 count, and then Dustin gets in with like a cradle. But then Kip escapes and then picks up a near fall himself. Kip tries to keep him grounded. Dustin ends up fighting back. And then he gets a roll up. Then the knee strike and lariat by Kip connects for another near fall. There was quite a bit of near falls in this matchup. Not too many, but not too much. I mean, not too many, but not too few. Kip kept grounding him. Dustin ended up firing up and hits a desperation spine buster, which looked like he was actually suffering from fatigue there for a minute. He gave him some clotheslines, then a drop down uppercut and bulldog, which is one of his famous moves. A snap slam followed for a near fall, and then Kip countered back into like a springboard, and then a springboard DDT. That almost counted as a near fall. After that, Kip started to get frustrated and started talking shit. And he started talking shit to Dustin. Then he laid in ground and pound. Referee started pulling him off. Referee Aubrey was pulling him out. Ford ended up coming him in because he was sculling Kip Sabian. Penelope Ford got in, and then Brandy ended up spearing her. And then Dusty follows with a destroyer and then ended up pinning Kip Sabian 1, 2, 3. 7 out of 10 for this matchup as Dustin Rhodes ended up moving on against Lance Archer in the semifinals for the AEW TNT Championship Tournament. And this was good, I thought to myself, Dusty winning is the way to go. It's a go on to face Lance Archer. And Kip is a guy with a lot of unrealized potential. And trust me, when I say he has unrealized potential, he has lots of it. And I think a lot of people should be paying attention to his work ethic around there somewhere, because sooner or later he's going to have some sort of title run in the future. I don't know if it's tag team title or AEW title, but whatever title it's going to be worth noting, that's for sure. Working with a guy like Dustin is a great thing for him. It's going to be put it on his resume, and he's going to skyrocket his way in his career in professional wrestling. Hence, if God forbid, he doesn't get injured. This week's episode of Dynamite was good. I mean, I think it was better than last week's. But it was still good. It was enjoyable. Tony and Chris are so fun in commentary. I like Chris Jericho's commentary. they continued giving the right people wins in the TNT tournament, and then they set up next week's show nicely. So I'm definitely going to look forward to next week's AEW Dynamite. All right, before I begin with the NXT review from this week's episode, I also want to give another special shout out to the Mega Man podcast. Go listen to him on Spotify or wherever podcasts are available. And he's definitely a cool guy. He's a beer drinker, beer connoisseur. He tastes different types of beers. He also has special guests come up to his show, and they talk about lifestyles and how it is in the streets and living up funny things. Not everything is unfiltered, and there's no filters in this show nor in Mega Man Podcast. Available at Spotify or wherever it is you find your favorite podcast in. Check them out. The Mega Man Podcast. Available on Spotify, Apple Music, or wherever it is you find your podcast. Okay, now the NXT episode this week. They had a similar situation involving a championship tournament. And what I'm talking about is the NXT Cruiserweight Championship Tournament. It is for the title is interim due to the fact that Jordan Devlin is stuck in Ireland and he is not able to make it to the United States. So therefore, in that retrospect, there will be an interim Cruiserweight champion in the meantime. But first things first. We start the show off with a tag team women's match. Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez taking on Shotzi Blackheart and Tegan Nox. I like Shotzi Blackheart. I think she's really cool. I've seen some of her matches on the indies, whether it's Evolve or AML Wrestling or any type of different wrestling promotions. And trust me, she is a lot of fun to watch. She's not afraid to take risks either. So she's definitely one to look forward to in the future. She's crazy, but she's fun. She's fun to watch. Tegan Nox is very poetic, and she's very talented. It's like she shows aggression in some of her matches, she's making the matches very interesting. So I keep an eye on her as well. This women's division is definitely stacked in NXT. Dakota Kai, I'm a fan of her too. She's been ever since when she was teaming up at one point with Io Shirai and Kairi Sane at one time, but she suffered an ACL injury and she was out for almost 9 fucking months. That's a shame because they had something going on. They were trying to fight against Shayna Baszler and the horsewomen of MMA. And they had something going on. That would have been a nice little program. That would have been a lot of fun to watch. But, oh well, shit happens from time to time. Anyway, so Raquel Gonzalez. Oh, I forgot to mention about Raquel Gonzalez. She has been an up-and-coming in developmental. And she's just tall and she's intimidating, and she's very good. She's got strength. And that's something that you don't see too much of that in the women's division. However, I see that quality, that type of quality in Raquel Gonzalez. So she's tall, so she could literally fuck up her opponents. And that's, and of course, with her going on as the bodyguard for Dakota Kai. So interesting mix, especially ever since Dakota Kai got turned heel. So, it's just an interesting mix-up of how they both associate. So here we go. Shotzi Blackheart and Tegan Nox, they have control of this matchup in the beginning. And when Dakota Kai started coming in, this whole match just started taking over. They started coming in with Tegan Nox tagging in. Then they ended up dumping Gonzalez in the beginning. Shotzi was following up with a dive to the floor. She was telling you that's that risk-taking mentality going on. So she's very, very talented. Gonzalez has some heat on Shotzi. Then Kai tags in, Dakota Kai. And she double teams her for a 2 count. Kai misses with a running boot, but then Shotzi tags in Tegan. And then Gonzalez joins her. And then she jumps in. And then Knox followed with chops, clotheslines, and a headbutt. But Gonzalez misses a charge. Knox followed in with an enziguri, but then ends up getting cut off with a fallaway slam. Shotzi came in, flies in with the seated senton for a near fall. However, it starts breaking down. All 4 competitors are fighting each other. But then Gonzalez ended up chokeslamming Shotzi for the win, and she could do a straight-out chokeslam. Very impressive. But it was a win for Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. I think this was set up from last week. It was smart to book as Raquel and Shotzi have history working together with Evolve, especially in the Indies. They've fought each other before, so I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty sure they must have pitched an idea for Triple H saying, hey, me and Raquel Gonzalez, when we had a thing going on where in the independent scene, we started fighting each other. We got into no DQ type matches and stuff. And we have some sort of rivalry going on. So let's do something right here in NXT. And I'm pretty sure Triple H, not Vince. Vince is an asshole. I'll get to that in a little bit. But Triple H had a more straight mindset and said, that might be a good idea. Let's go ahead and let's see them work a program and see how you two go. So this is what's basically happening. So while Knox and Kai are still fighting each other anyway, so they had a rivalry going on with each other too. So this is a solid opener. Very solid. It's pretty good, actually. So 7 out of 10. That was my rating. Next, we get a highlight of the sad video from Twitter of Drake Maverick, and it's just funny how God. Okay, constructive criticism coming right your way. Okay, first of all, Tom Phillips, Byron Saxton. The way you advertise this is that this was a video. This is a video that has caught the WWE world's attention. And it's the sad video of Drake Maverick, emotional to the fact that he's getting released from his contract, that these 3 upcoming matches could be the last ones of his career. Why is this unbelievable? That's fucking terrible. It's terrible that he's fucking going through this emotion. You don't fuck with fucking people's feelings this way. Who fucking told him to say that? I'd like to know what producer on the headset told him that this is some unbelievable, it got everyone's attention. Yes, it did, but not for excitement purposes. It's for emotional purposes. Someone in the production truck needs to get punched in the fucking back of the head for that. That's fucking stupid. But anyway, I ain't gonna be hating because this fact that he has 3 more matches with the WWE. I mean, he might go back as Rockstar Spud. Who knows? I don't know. But come on, don't fuck with someone's emotions. Are you fucking stupid? Anyway, so while that's been going on, while I'm watching that shit, and he watches himself advertised as he wants to go out as the Cruiserweight Champion. So everyone's obviously cheering for him. So the next match is Drake Maverick, and this is an interim NXT Cruiserweight Championship Tournament match. This is the first match of Group B, I believe. Something like that. Group A or Group B. I think it's Group A. But anyway, regardless of what you say, it's Drake Maverick taking on Jake Atlas. And like I said before, I have met Jake Atlas before. He's one of the most talented, most respectable guys I've ever seen. Comes from, they build him as Los Angeles, California, but he's from El Monte, California, which is a neighborhood that I am very familiar with. And I used to work there. I used to work as a security guard over there at one point in my life, and I've known a lot of people. I know how they are, and there's a lot of familiar faces, regulars that go into that shop. But anyway, that's another story. But I'm very familiar for where he's come from, and I've seen him wrestle at PCW Ultra and the Independents. He is a very, very talented wrestler. He's gonna break barriers. So keep an eye on that guy. So Jake Atlas takes on Drake Maverick. And the way this matchup starts with the lockup, and then Jake Atlas was controlling earlier on, and Drake was trying to do his best to counter back, and then they ended up in a standoff. Drake shot for a takedown. So he was grounding Jake until he escaped. Drake followed up with leg kicks and then a drop kick, then a hurricanrana, and Rana's Jake into the floor. Back in, and Jake cuts him off a little bit, and he gave him a backbreaker, and he started targeting his back. So apparently Drake Maverick has a weak spot here. There was a couple of strikes, kicks, and uppercuts, and it's very physical, this match. It wasn't the most physical matchup, but it was very, very good. It was very, very talented. I mean, these guys are showcasing. So I give lots of credit to both guys. So Drake Maverick tries to trip up Jake, gives him a running boot, and then he connects as the drop kick with a tequila sunrise. Then he followed up until Jake escaped again. Then a tope suicida by Drake, and he backs in, and then on the top rope with an elbow drop, and then gets a near fall. It didn't work. So then Jake counters with a sliced bread, hits a super kick, and then Drake fires back with palm strikes. Then they work up top, and then Jake counters the hurricanrana, and then hits a cartwheel DDT from the top rope, and then Jake Atlas is victorious over Drake Maverick. And this match was a 7 out of 10. Very good, and it focused with a cool finish. And it was the cartwheel DDT, or as Jake Atlas once called it, the LGB DDT. That's what he called it, I believe. LGB DDT, something like that. But he doesn't have an official name on it yet, but I think it's going to work. It's going to work with something. So just keep an eye on Jake Atlas in the future. And then after that match, Jake is congratulated on his victory, and he says he is on top of the world right now. He wanted to say something to Drake, but Drake just ended up going to the he ended up just going to the back, distraught, obviously. Jake said Drake gave him a hell of a fight. So 1 down, 2 to go. Rightfully so. Very, very, very interesting match. We got a video package of Keith Lee, and then Damian Priest says he does not care about Keith's family or his journey. All he cares about is the North American Championship. So this is basically just promoting the rivalry between Keith Lee and Damian Priest. Now, I like to think of this as a main event for an upcoming episode of NXT. So what ended up happening is they ended up promoting that NXT Damian Priest versus Keith Lee will main event for the North American Championship. So we got a lot to look forward next week here. So while that was going on, and after they showcased that, Tony Nese and Kushida ended up commenting ahead of their match. We have another interim NXT Cruiserweight Championship tournament matchup, which is featuring the two of Kushida and Tony Nese. So, Nese started the matchup early, started talking shit, and then started posing. Because I believe in this one, I believe Tony Nese is a heel. If I didn't know any better, that's what it looked like. Kushida scrambled And then he worked into a standoff, but then Nese quickly grounded him. And then Kushida countered and attacked the arm to the ropes. And Kushida followed with strikes. Then cheap shots Nese. And then he stuns Kushida over the ropes. Very, very good. I mean, this is a lot of back and forth going in this matchup. It was very, very good. Midway through the match, there was a springboard moonsault that missed. And that was by Tony Nese. And then Kushida hits the backhand spring elbow and then cartwheel dropkick. And then he starts attacking the arm, a little bit. It started like going up a little bit onto his arm to try to get some sort of armor. Then he started kicking him and then countering back. Then Kushida gets the hanging Kimura, and then Nese ended up powering it out. And then into a suplex, counters it up, and heads up to the top. Kushida ended up following, but Nese shoves him off, and then the 450 splash follows, and he ends up getting a near fall. I was like, damn, very good shit. Then Kushida started firing back with the show tie, and then hits another, and then heads up to the top again. They've been using a lot of top rope maneuvers in this match. It was very high risk, but at the same time, it was very fun. On the other hand, Nese cuts him off and then follows him up, but then Kushida ended up countering into a Spanish fly, into a hoverboard lock, and then Nese is done. Tony Nese is defeated by Kushida in a match that was just as good as the previous one with Jake Atlas and Drake Maverick. So 7 out of 10. So after the matchup, we got a backstage with Matt Riddle and Timothy Thatcher, which are interviewed backstage. Riddle says he loves tea time, but misses Stallion Pete. Thatcher says he likes to make people tap, while Riddle likes it when people are knocked out. Riddle says Tim's green eyes remind him of Pete, but Tim says his eyes are brown. Matt says they'll show the world next week how beautiful Tim is. Not to make a joke or anything here, but I kind of felt creeped out watching that promo, especially how they gone off to that one. Okay. So after we get a Killer Cross video here, and you see the feet of Scarlett Bordeaux, and that's after Killer Cross, or excuse me, Karrion Kross ended up attacking Tommaso Ciampa. Now, off to the Garganos. As John says that his fairy tale ending came true, and he married his Candice wrestling. He got another fairy tale ending when he became the first Triple Crown winner. Nobody believed he'd be the heart and soul of NXT, or that he was better than Ciampa, but he did. Candice joins him and says she also believed. Johnny says that was real fairy tale, was believing that being nice was the road to success. His kindness was taken advantage of by Ciampa. Ciampa was a dirtbag and got everything handed to him. He's sick of waving the NXT flag on top of a mountain of appreciation. While Candice says she's also unappreciated herself. She is the big sister of the locker room and puts those women ahead of herself. But she will no longer eat second. They have food, and Johnny tells her to eat first. Then they only trust each other. And their plan is to reign together as a women's and NXT champion. The first married couple to do so. They, the good guys, win. And we will get what they deserve. Wow. I start going on with my wife and it's all about me. That's neat. Fucking crazy. And we got another video package featuring Io Shirai discussing why she has been waiting so long to face Charlotte. She will destroy the castle where the queen lives because she bowed down to no one. And then Drake Maverick is interviewed. He's in tears and says Jake Atlas is great. Everyone is fighting their opponent, but he's fighting his opponent. And That's just the way it's just the way it is, and oh boy, they're really milking this. Maybe people were right about him too. So now he's getting a depressive state of mode, and now there's been some sort of guilt going on here. That's a shame. But you know what? At least it's playing it off pretty good. So I give him credit. I don't know. Why does Vince McMahon have to fire his ass? I have no idea. Prick! All right. So, the next match we have is Mia Yim. Mia Yim taking on Jessie Kamea. And the interesting thing is, I've seen Jessie Kamea wrestle before. I went to an NXT live event in Riverside, California, and she was featured in a match when she was teaming up with Dakota Kai. This was before Raquel Gonzalez started showing up, and she took on Tegan Nox and Candice LeRae of all people. So this was definitely interesting. So Jessie Kamea takes on Mia Yim, and in this matchup, it was very good. I will give credit to where credit is due for Mia. She's also a SoCal. She's also a SoCal local resident, Fontana, California. So I'm cheering for her. So anyway, the lockup starts up in this match, and then Yim takes her to the corner as Kamea fires her back, and then she gets tackled by Yim. Kamea then falls with another tackle. Then Yim falls with another, delivers kicks, and covers with a 2 count. Yim delivers knee strikes, but Kamea counters back, and then covers for a 2. It was quick ground and pound, clubbing strikes, and then Yim fires back. Kamea follows with a twisting elbow drop, gets a near fall. Yim fires back with clotheslines and an STO, and a protect your neck to finish it. Mia Yim defeats Jessie Kamea in 3 minutes. This match is a 5 out of 10. It was a good, nice little win for Mia, and makes her build up towards Charlotte Flair. Speaking of Charlotte, she arrived, and then she reminded Mia that she wants a match with her, that Mia says it would be an honor to face her. Charlotte thanks her for helping to make her a star 5 years ago. She calls Mia a good hand and hopes to return the favor this week. There was some stank on that backhanded compliment. That's for sure. And like I said, I ain't hating on Charlotte. She does pretty well. Does pretty well for a heel, that is. After that, we get a Chelsea Green doing a bikini shoot. She's doing the photo shoot, and then Robert Stone is cutting a promo by poolside and then putting over Chelsea Green as a megastar, and then call her the face of the women's division. No woman in the division, even Rhea Ripley, has her combination of beauty, brains, and skills. So Rhea will kill her soon. Wow. She's going to kill her? Well, figuratively speaking, of course. Figuratively fucking speaking. Don't get your panties in a bunch, people. She ain't going to kill her. She's just going to beat the shit out of her. Or at least they're going to beat the shit out of each other. So that's what I want to watch in my wrestling matches. The final NXT Cruiserweight Championship Tournament matchup for the interim title. Jack Gallagher takes on El Hijo de Fantasma. So El Hijo de Fantasma gets his debut right here on NXT. And they ended up trading punches and then circle, and then the Fantasma does some groundwork and does a couple of things here. Jack ended up countering with that British stomp style that he has. He started working the arm, grabs at the mask a little bit, picks up the pace. Fantasma gets a drop kick in, gets near fall right away. He dumped Fantasma and then worked him over on the floor. Then he gave some uppercuts with some strikes. Fantasma hits an enziguri. He dumps Jack, then follows with a plancha. Then we go to commercial break. After the break, Jack fires away with kicks, then throws him back in, gets a cover for a 2 count. Jack grounds up and has some ground wrestling. Then attacks the arm. Phantasma fires back slowly. And then clotheslines, and then Jack fires back. So it was like kind of about a bunch of counters back and forth. Phantasma countered once again into a super kick, which followed by a tope suicida. And then back in, and then Phantasma followed with strikes. And it was a little back and forth. I mean, fun. Very fun. Jack missed the gentleman's drop kick. Then Phantasma hits the thrill off the hunt for the win. I think that's what he calls his maneuver. Another 7 out of 10. And I will say this. All these cruiserweight matches have been 7 out of 10. I am impressed. Don't get me wrong. Do not get me wrong. Then we have an advertisement for next week as Hijo de Fantasma wins and defeats Jack Gallagher. So he's 1-0 now. Charlotte versus Mia Yim next week, along with Damian Priest versus Keith Lee for the North American title. So 2 big matches next week. And while all this is going on, they showed off during the commercial break that the Lucha Ninjas tried to kidnap El Hijo de Fantasma. I know they kidnapped Joaquin Wilde and some other guy. So obviously he's innocent. So he tried to fight them off. So the main event time. Velveteen Dream taking on Keith Lee and Adam Cole and Roderick Strong of the Undisputed Era. Bobby Fish is at ringside. And Undisputed Era start the match. They ended up brawling. Dream ended up chasing Fish away from the referee. Tosses Fish out. Then while they were at it, when that was going on, Damian Priest comes in out of nowhere and then took out Keith Lee with a nightstick. And now they said that he couldn't continue. So they ended up taking him to the back. So they went to commercial break, and then when they came back, Velveteen Dream ends up fighting Adam Cole and Roderick Strong. It was basically a 2-on-1 handicap match. And after several near falls, all of a sudden, Dexter Lumis comes out of nowhere and then wants to be Dream's partner. That guy's a creep with a Stranger Themes cast. So I say, hey, Stranger Themes. He suddenly joined this fucking match. So anyway, so Dream was countering while he was getting in trouble. Hits a Dream Valley driver and then tags in Loomis. Then he starts attacking the Undisputed Era, hitting Adam Cole and Roderick Strong. He works over Adam Cole. And then spinebusters Roderick Strong. Fish ended up coming back, ignoring the referee's orders. And then Loomis hits a cannonball to the floor. And that was a crazy, crazy risk maneuver. And then Dream pins Adam Cole with a Purple Rainmaker. And Velveteen Dream, with Dexter Lumis, defeats Adam Cole and Roderick Strong. And albeit a bit messy, this was okay. It was good. I mean, it felt a little unfocused, but because there was so much shit going on that you couldn't really focus on it too much. And I think like they were serving too many storylines here all at once. They tried to advance the Keith Lee, Damian Priest situation. Then they try to advance the Adam Cole, Velveteen Dream situation. And then they try to turn Dexter Lumis into a playmaker. And also, I think continuing with the Dream push right now, well, I mean, I hate to say it, but we need the fucking crowd there. We need the fucking crowd. Because it seems like during these empty arena shows and these empty arena matches, I don't know how to think of this. It appears Loomis will get a chance. But I am personally far from sold on him. But he's going to get his chance. I'm pretty sure. So 6 out of 10. Not bad, though. So my final verdict on this one, I gave the show about a 7 out of 10, just like Dynamite. If I didn't get the show rating for Dynamite, this is it. 7 out of 10 for Dynamite, 7 out of 10 for NXT. Split tie. I thought this week's NXT was good overall. I enjoyed it very much. It had good focus on the Cruiserweight tournament, which I loved. Just like the way Dynamite had the TNT tournament, which I loved. And they are positioning people in seemingly the right spots, along with some high-quality video packages showcasing the rest of the talent. And again, you know, like I said last week, I think the show is getting back to a simpler but more focused layout where it used to really thrive. So I've had a lot of fun with these two shows, and I think, as far as like picking a winner between the two, I mean, I really don't know. I really don't know too much about that. So it's kind of a pick-em. It's 50-50 booking for both shows. So I can say it's a proverbial tie. That's not NXT. It's not AEW. I think it's a tie. And that's what I thought about both shows. So I thought about that. So kudos to both companies. I will grant them that. Okay, I wanted to close the program. Well, you know me. If you've been listening to all 5 of my podcasts, congratulations. But if you guys have listened to me for the first time, I suggest you guys listen from the first episode all the way to this episode, which is episode 6. Probably be out by the 24th, if not the 25th, depending on how my computer works. But anyway, usually I end the last couple of episodes, I've ended with a rant. And I've ended with some anger into my rants, depending on the subject that's at hand, especially with the troubles that we're facing today. I couldn't really think of anything much because I've been talking about the fucking coronavirus. It's a fucking problem. It's a nuisance. And it's spread because, and the reason why we're in a pandemic is because a whole bunch of leaders from a couple of countries, not just the United States, I'm talking about China, Italy, France, Spain, and currently the UK right now as well, because these fucking governments apparently have not been taking as much responsibility as screen testing everybody that's tested positive or negative for coronavirus. And apparently I get pissed off at the fucking scientists too, because they haven't produced a fucking vaccine yet to ease this issue and to solve this problem. And I'm pretty sure they have a fucking vaccine for it, but they don't want to fucking make it public because they want to keep controlling the fucking economy, which just proves to me how evil the pharmaceutical fucking companies are. And fuck this Dr. Anthony Fauci too. He's another piece of shit. But we've been talking about that for the past couple of weeks. So I'm going to talk about something else. This time, we're on the subject of coronavirus, but we're going to discuss it a little differently. It's Vince McMahon. That's who I wanted to talk about. I don't know if you live, in case you've been living under a fucking rock, or if you're from England. I have an English listener that listens to me. So hey, well, welcome again. Thank you for listening to my podcast. Hopefully, as soon as I get something going on here, I'm gonna spread the word to these podcasts. So anyway, so I'm gonna start talking about Vince McMahon and the amount of legal trouble that he is going through right now, especially declaring the XFL bankrupt, and of course screwing a whole lot of fucking people right now. So I don't know if you don't know about this, but of course the TMZ, which I don't like them as a news source, but I'll have to get what I get. So TMZ reported that Oliver Luck, who was the commissioner of the XFL, is planning on suing Vince McMahon for wrongful termination. And this is what the article said and states. 2 weeks ago, McMahon had to pull the plug on the XFL, With the football reboot going belly up after being shut down because of the coronavirus pandemic. This time it wasn't no fault of his own. The news isn't much better for McMahon's wrestling operation in the WWE, despite that Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, another stupid fuck, declared that WWE is an essential business. 6 days later, McMahon had to slash salaries and payroll. The cuts included furloughs as well as the release of 5 wrestlers. Making matters worse, Yahoo Sports reported on a couple of days back that an anonymous WWE employee voiced safety concerns regarding the company's taped shows from the Orange County of Florida Board of County Commissioners. So Chase basically tried to snitch on Vince McMahon. According to the report, the employee goes by the name of John, quote, and I quote, a submitted statement from the board. My employer, World Wrestling Entertainment, aka WWE, is forcing me to work the TV tapings for its weekly shows despite home orders for coronavirus. I am unable to speak out as I need this job, and I know I will be fired if I approach my higher-ups. Despite sanitary precautions, we cannot maintain social distancing and have to touch other people. I request the government to shut down these tapings and enforce the stay-at-home orders so my colleagues and I may follow social distancing rules without fear or repercussions of losing our jobs. So, basically, because this is not the first controversy that has been going on with Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon apparently has brown-nosed jobbers, brown-nosed people that apparently struck a keen eye to them, and because of those brown nosers out there, he pushes them to the fucking moon. And then, of course, that's just recent years. Recent, and it's too fucking obvious. That's why wrestling fans keep fucking saying, just fucking step the fuck down. Last year, he introduced the wild card rule. Of course, we have a brand extension, but of course, the new wild card rule will take in effect, and of course, it'll have 4 superstars from Raw go to SmackDown, and 4 superstars from SmackDown go to Raw. It's the most ingenious thing I've ever heard of. It's the most creative thing ever. I'm a genius, it's a very genius thing, the wild card rule. It's really good. Fuck the wild card rule, Vince, you fucking prick. Okay, that's not one problem. There's another problem. He wanted to push PG era mentality to the audience. He treats them like they're fucking 5 years old. He fucking thinks that the crowd is ignorant. And it's my way or the highway, pal. Shut up. That's how he fucking sounds. And, I do not like this motherfucker. I mean, I like him to a certain extent. Yes, he's a genius. Yes, he's a pioneer for wrestling companies. Yes, he's a very good advertiser. Yes, he turned a company into what it is today, thanks to Hulk Hogan and Bret the Hitman Hart, Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, John Cena, Randy Orton, Edge, and then modern day superstars Seth Rollins, Becky Lynch, Roman Reigns, Sasha Banks, Charlotte Flair. You know what I mean? And yes, I think guys that deserve push like Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Finn Balor. And I think a lot of these guys up and coming, they're starting up. Yeah, I like the Viking Raiders. Yes, I like the Street Profits. Yes, I like the Kabuki Warriors. Yes, I like Bliss Cross Applesauce even. I like this little tandem that the Boss Hug Connection are doing, which is Sasha Banks and Bayley. I like what they're doing. But I also like the new upcoming stars. Io Shirai is one of them. Bianca Belair, Shayna Baszler, Tegan Knox, Dakota Kai. I like that they got Shotzi Blackheart. I like the fact that they got Chelsea Green And, there's so many talented women out there. This is the strongest women roster I have ever seen in the WWE. I have ever seen them. But only some of them are getting... I mean, Charlotte Flair, I ain't hating on her. But some of them are only getting a certain push and they only didn't take it so far. Fucking shameful. And then the men's side, it's no better. Look at Ricochet. Ricochet was given a push. Only to get fed by Brock Lesnar. And then defeated in 2 minutes. Say he ain't shit. Just because he's a UFC fighter. Let's feed him the fucking blockhead. Getting paid $10 million a year to sit on his fucking ass. Fuck him. Now, as far as these other guys chasing the 24/7 time, I got to admit, R-Truth does belong in that fucking category because he is fucking hilarious. I mean, downright funny. I give a lot of credit to Akira Tozawa. I like Cedric Alexander. Angel Garza, they're doing a good job, and especially with Andrade since he has that rivalry going with Rey Mysterio. But see, here's the thing. There's a lot of talented guys out there. And they're just keeping the NXT guys and they're tossing them aside. You think they make natural athletes. Vince doesn't see it that way. That's not wrestling. It's sports entertainment, pal. Oh, you got to go by the rules. If not, you're fired. That's how he always says. But you know what? When I saw the Vince Mr. McMahon character that he produced, I think to myself, he fucking comes like that. He talks like that because, well, maybe that's just his character. But now I'm finding out, no, that's how he actually fucking is, in my opinion. Yes, he'll stop for an interview. Yes, he'll stop to answer certain questions. Yes, he'll fucking go on certain shows and, and maybe he'll talk about his company or whatever. We're a sports entertainment company, and we're going to have... Yeah, fine, but there's a lot of bullshit behind the curtain in his fucking brain. He's a senile fuck that can't get in with the modern times, and he is clearly out of fucking touch. If you want to know what I'm talking about, let's see, because he thinks that getting some wrestling Hall of Famers and legends and putting them over the new stars such as Bray Wyatt and any other superstar that's out there. Oh, yeah, let's not forget. He took out some blood money, like the way he did with the Saudi Arabian shows. 2 Saudi Arabian shows a year. And we only went to 1 this year. He's supposed to do another one back in September or October. But probably won't happen because this pandemic is still running fucking rampant. This motherfucker thinks that anything's going to be possible. Bull fucking shit. We can't predict the future. Now, I am fucking mad at these politicians because they're not doing good enough job to require people to be tested, nor should they be medicated. Look, and I have an idea. I think the idea is we should donate plasma, and then for sure, I'm pretty sure we might be immune to this fucking coronavirus shit. Otherwise, we'd be open in public right now. Fucking douches. Anyway, so how many times has Vince McMahon actually been in fucking legal trouble? Besides the steroid abuse of the early 90s, besides Dr. David Schultz slapping the 2020 reporter, which I will say he did deserve, by the way. And then, of course, the Owen Hart tragedy, the Eddie Guerrero tragedy, the Chris Benoit tragedy. So many tragedies. It's a tragic figure. And I don't know how he's able to keep a job. And much less the sexual abuse thing about that Pat Patterson bullshit, which I don't really want to talk about, really. But, at least not in this episode. We might talk about that some other time. However, when it comes to certain things, what is it with him? Like, what the fuck are they trying to prove here? And I got some independent investigators investigating the matter. He seems like a real trustworthy guy. Not. Never trust a fucking billionaire if they're going to keep their fucking money all to themselves and they're going to be a bunch of stubborn pricks. And you know what? I hate to say this. I really hate to fucking say this. But to be honest with you, I really cannot wait until this motherfucker steps down or croaks. That's how this company is going to be better, unfortunately. And here's how it's going to work. After he steps down or steps out of life, the one that's probably going to take over is either Stephanie McMahon or it's going to be Triple H, Paul Levesque. Either one. It's going to be either one. They're going to take over the realms. And the way that Triple H is running NXT, he's doing a far better job than the way Vince McMahon is handling Raw or SmackDown. Because he acts like a fucking clown. So, the way he's running NXT, Triple H is running NXT, he's doing a much better job. And it shows because a lot of people are giving in to the NXT show and they like what they see sometimes. So, good wrestling, great wrestling, athletes doing some incredible moves. So, they want to see some excitement. They don't want to see no bullshit, especially scripted fucking promos and fucking waiting for a goddamn pop to an empty arena. Good God, stop that shit. Just fucking stop. It's cringeworthy. Fucking cringeworthy. I'd rather sew my butt cheeks shut than to see a fucking interview backstage where they say, with me at this time, the Intercontinental Champion, Sami Zayn. Pause for 5 seconds to wait for a pop. Now, Sami, you're going to be defending your title against Shinsuke Nakamura. I'm just improvising here. But you know, and then the promo begins. I'm like, come fucking on, dude. This shit has got to stop. This shit has got to stop. There ain't going to be no pop. Why expect one? You know what you need a pop? A pop in your fucking head. A pop in your fucking balls. That's what you fucking need. Well, now that we're having some enjoyment here along with Vince McMahon, so is Vince McMahon really a crook? I say yes, he is a fucking crook. He's a fucking piece of shit in my eyes because I think he likes to keep... He'll do anything he can. Anything that doesn't work, he acts like a fucking man-child over it. And now this Oliver Luck guy is going to sue him for whatever money he has. He's going to sue him, I'm pretty sure, for his rest of his $18 million out of his $20 million contract. He's probably going to have to give it to him. He's fucked a lot of people over in this XFL deal. And roster cuts definitely did not do him any favors. Fuck this guy. I hope he fucking quits to a point where he has to resign from the WWE. And if he gives it to Triple H or Stephanie McMahon, then that's good. Maybe they can finally get rid of that toothpaste fucknut fucking Kevin Dunn. Fuck you, you fucking turd face and fuck nugget squirrel looking prick. Well, that pretty much sums up my episode today, doesn't it? So next week I might review some independent show. And we might actually, you know what, come to think about it, there was a show I was going to watch. I plan on watching. I watched the first night of Impact Rebellion. Next week will be the second night on next Tuesday. So I'll review those shows. Word has it that there might not be no Tessa Blanchard, but that's what sucks. But, let's find out. Next week, I will review both nights of Impact Wrestling's Rebellion. And that seems to be the only pay-per-view outside of AEW and WWE that's going on in the world. Even though it's no crowd, we'll check it out. And I'll be gladly be able to check it out as well. So, we'll review Impact Wrestling's Rebellion next week. So until then, for all you fuckers that are staying at home and in quarantine, and hopefully fucking Vince McMahon Hopefully to bring a step stool and buy some rope from Walmart. Hopefully getting ready to hang himself in front of the fucking head ceiling. This is Eric Peralta reminding you to wash your ass. I'll see you guys next week. See you then.
They tell me I can say these things. Oh no, things like fuck that shit, piss your pants, lick my motherfucking balls, cock tit ass fuck, blow me, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Why can I say these things? Things people say every fucking day.